A very warm welcome to all of you on this amazing and interactive session on Shiksha's webinar platform. I'm Bhagyashree, a moderator for this session. And as I did mention that for today's session, we have Aditya with us who will be taking up this session. And he's from IIT Bombay. And for more about Aditya, I'll just hand over Aditya and welcome him on this platform for the very first time. Aditya, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, Bhagyashree. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being with us here on this platform. And before we start off, I would
How
want you
is
to like,
everyone?
Aditya would want you to like briefly introduce yourself.
So, hello everyone. My name is Aditya, and like you, I was also an aspirant 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I guess. So in 2014, it was a different time because JEE Mains was like it was the second JEE Mains. Previously, it used to be AIEEE. So, maths is a subject which will help you score the most. And that was the case with me and a lot of my co-aspirants. So here I am. I did my mechanical engineering from IIT Bombay. Post that, I worked for 2 years. I taught physics for a year in Goa, for a year in Gujarat, and I was a visiting faculty in a lot of coaching institutes which were there all across the country. And then I decided to take another direction, and I am currently pursuing my MBA from FMS Delhi.
All right. Thank you, Aditya, for that introduction. And I'm sure a lot of them have a lot of queries, and your experience would, really boost them up and help them and guide them in the very right way. So, okay. So let's just begin with, since it's a prep session, we all know what is JEE all about, and we all know the importance that JEE holds. And I'm sure that a lot of them, who are sitting this year for JEE Mains and Advanced, they're busy preparing, since the boards have just finished, and they are into this competitive exams, they're into their heads, and just right now they just want to focus on cracking of this exams. So maths, since the session is all about maths, so we're going to talk the most about maths and no other subject, right? We're going to focus more on maths. So let's just start with a very basic question, Aditya. Like, if we talk about the revision part, like for the very last few days, what kind of revision planning students need to do, particularly if I talk about only maths, like what kind of revision planning should go for maths?
Yes. So I would like to answer this question in two parts. One, since the pattern had changed a bit, like there are more than one attempts for JEE Mains which we have. So firstly, I would like to encourage students to just try to attempt the things they have already done. Just try to revise the things they have already done. Learning something new at this stage will not yield you a lot of profit, I would say. I would use a commercial mathematical term profit, because see, no one needs to solve the whole paper. Firstly, you don't need to get 360 on 360 here. You just need to, like do a good amount of questions. If you do them correctly, as many as possible, you'll get a better score rather than solving all of them and getting a lot of them incorrect. So negative marking is something which you should really consider, and hence attempt only those questions which you are very comfortable with. So first thing, and since this is the approach we will be keeping on the delay, so revise the parts more than once. The thing, see, you can divide your whole syllabus into three buckets. So there are, let's say, some 40 chapters in mathematics between 11th and 12th. The whole of it will come into your JEE Mains. Right. So out of these 40, there will be some, say, 10, 15 chapters which you find very easy, 10, 15 chapters which you find moderately easy, and 10, 15 chapters which you are not very comfortable with. So what I would suggest during these, you call this an end game. This end game requires you to, strengthen the first two buckets, the easy ones and the moderate ones. Hard ones can be taken up in the next attempt. So this is how the strategy would change for these recent years where there is more than one attempt for JEE. During our time, it was not so. We had to do all of it, but we were at an advantage that we already knew the dates and all of that. all. These people nowadays are changing the dates, it's postponing. And the pattern of JEE has also changed. There are like 5 or 10 integer type questions, right? So the difficulty level has also increased. So my suggestion to all of you is to divide. It's your personal preference. Which chapters you find easy, which chapters you find moderate, which chapters you find hard, and focus on the first two parts. So that is one part. That is the prep part. How do you go for the prep part? By solving a lot of test papers. It's a 3-hour paper. Solve a lot of mock tests. I would personally prefer if you solve the past year JEE papers, JEE Mains papers. If you sit for 3 hours from 9 to 12 in the morning, and then you take the whole day to analyze the paper. Okay, yeah, this chapter is somewhere I need to work on. This is somewhere I need to work on. This is something which I already know. So this live analysis will always make it better. Maybe in the first paper you score some 100 marks out of 300. But by the end, if you do this exercise iteratively, diligently for 7 times, for 7 papers, definitely your score will increase by 1.5 times. That will happen due diligence, and you will be better prepared for your main exam as well.
Right. Thank you, Aditya, for that answer. Of course, another very important and common questions that I could see coming here repetitively is important chapter for scoring high in maths, because we know with that maths is a very, very scoring subject, right? And I'm sure that all of them would want to score the high, in maths compared to the other 2 or 3 subjects, right? So,
Of course.
which are the most important chapters that they can look right now for revision, planning, and which subject which important chapters or sections from maths it's not to be missed, that is absolutely mandatory for them to do.
For the important chapters, this question is a bit open-ended because it also depends on the pattern which the JEE has been following since the past few years. So first thing, as I said, I would continue the answer which I gave before. Solve some past papers. But in my experience, what I have seen, calculus is something which carries major amount of weightage. Calculus and conic sections. The conic sections, coordinate geometry part. Usually what happens is coordinate geometry has a lot of formulas. And since JEE Mains is a speed test, they would want some people to, like have those formulas on their fingertips. If they have that formula on their fingertips, it's very easy to solve that question. So it is very beneficial for you to prepare for coordinate geometry. Coordinate geometry includes Euclidean coordinates, XY axis, plane coordinate geometry, the triangles part of it, then the conic sections, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola, circles. So these are some 5-6 topics which I would really want the students to prepare in these 7 days. How to prepare for that? Just read the formulas and solve one sample example for each. So by that logic, one chapter can get over in say 2 to 3 hours. The revision part. Single formula, one question. Single formula, one question. Hardly 20 questions per chapter. 20 questions can be done in 2 to 3 hours. So this will enhance your score. Out of the number of questions, let's say there are 30 questions in JEE Mains. Out of that, at least 5 to 6 questions will come from the conic sections. And
So,
calculus is very important because it comes in physics also. So
mhm.
it's like 2 birds, 1 stone. If you do well in calculus for JEE Mains, for mathematics, it will come in JEE Mains physics, JEE Advanced. If you are appearing for JEE Advanced ahead, it will come there also. Calculus is the major chunk of mathematics.
Right. So just going a bit into the syllabus, I'll just pick few questions from students who have asked particularly about certain questions and certain sections. Like Ashish want to know, like, what about formula learning in trigonometry, like what to do for that?
Uh, Trigonometry is something which is based on right angle triangles and Pythagoras theorem. So go with the fundamentals there. There are some formulas in the solutions of triangles, but there are some mnemonics for that. Let's say there is a formula for sine a by 2. A is the angle of the triangle. Sine a by 2 is equal to root of s into s minus a upon bc. So if you want to find sine b by 2, you just replace a by b by c, and c by a. It's cyclic in nature. So you don't need to remember the formulae. You need to remember one, and then c by a and then in between. So that is one thing which will always help. Formulas are large in the solutions of triangles part of trigonometry. Otherwise, it is just the same. And you can always maybe 75. So keep on learning them.
Right. And I think it's just 1 week's time left, Aditya. There is one question that's I'm sure they're putting here is coming from Pranavi and Abroni. Like they all want to know like what should be their time plan, or I should say revising the syllabus for these final 7 days before they sit for the first session exam. Like what exactly should they have as their time plan for the 7 days left?
Sure, sure. So, but firstly, you need to balance all the three subjects. You can't just do mathematics and leave physics and chemistry. First and the foremost. So, roughly, I can assume that per day you may get not more than 2 hours for mathematics, apart from the test paper which I asked you to solve. So, if you solve a 3-hour test paper, you may be going to your coaching institute for final revision sessions. You roughly get some 4 to 5 hours of self-study. And I would encourage them to use this for mathematics because mathematics is very vast when it comes to mains. In mains, physics and chemistry are fairly simpler because they are straight away questions from NCERT. But in mathematics, it is not so. Even a question from NCERT can become very tricky and difficult if it is asked in mains by twisting some data. So that is why I would ask them to devote majority of the chunk of the self-study to mathematics. So let's say if you get roughly 2 to 3 hours for mathematics, focus on the bucket number two. Bucket number one you have already done. Bucket number two. Try to bucket number two. I'll reiterate what I said before. Let's say there are 10 chapters you find easy. That is bucket number one. Let's say there are 10 chapters you find a bit difficult but not so difficult. That is bucket number two. Try to shift the chapters from bucket number two to bucket number as many as possible. That is how I would expect them to devote the time they have. And especially considering the important chapters, there are calculus and conic sections, as I mentioned. These will have a majority of the weightage. If any of these chapters is in bucket number two, and even if you convert two of them into bucket number one, it will solve at least three more questions. Three more questions is 12 marks. Don't count them as 12 marks. It is 12 plus 3. Otherwise, see, in the paper, mathematics is the last session. You would always be in a hurry or in a haste that I did not solve enough questions, and you will try to attempt all the questions in mathematics. So if you learn something wrong, you will make a mistake and lose 1 mark for no reason. So this would be something as a timeline, 3 hours a day. Take one chapter, complete one chapter, move it to bucket number one. Take one chapter, complete one chapter, move it to bucket number. And this should be based on the analysis you make from the paper you have solved that day. The mock test which you have given, maybe of your coaching institute or maybe a past JEE.
Right. Okay, so I think some of you wanted to know about the timetable. So I think Aditya has just answered that, like what exactly should be your planning for all the subjects for the next 7 days, right? So just use and give your time very, very wisely. Okay, I'll quickly move to some other questions, and I want to like take all your questions, right? Okay, so there's another student, Aditya, who says that I feel maths is very tough among TCM. So, firstly, how can I improve it? And he says that I have done the entire syllabus, yet he is not able to solve more problems in maths. So, what could be that easy, tips that you would like to share with them?
Firstly, confidence is the key. 1 week before the exam, if you say that you are not good at mathematics, then there is a very less chance that you will do good in mathematics. Right now is not the time to think whether you are good or bad. You just think you are good, right? So let's say there are 40 chapters. You cannot be equally bad at all those chapters, right? You will be good at some chapters. Focus on those. Try to fetch as many marks from there as you can. And see, if you get 10 questions correct, you get 40 marks in mathematics, right? But if you attempt 20 questions and get just 8 questions correct, how many marks do you get? 32 minus 12, which is 20 marks, half the score, right? Some people may think that they are good at mathematics. Just do not lie to yourselves, but do not pull yourself down. If you think you are okay at mathematics, just take the chapters which you think you are okay at, just attempt those, because it is your first attempt. There will be another JEE Mains attempt this year itself, maybe the next month, right? So you can always get better there. But if you can just pinpoint these 10 questions and get 40 marks, that's a decent score according.
Absolutely. I think that they have given this chance, like there are two sessions that's happening. One is from next week and the other one is in the July. So a lot of you might be applying for the session 2 as well, right? Please say your preparation of a day as an aspirant of JEE. Chetan, we just discussed that, like how will you divide your day's time, for the next 7 days, right? So we'll again come back to that. Okay. So Aditya, we have another interesting question from Antariksh, and he says that, are there any chapters which could be left off? Would you like to suggest on that?
I usually do not condone this. I don't want students to think that they can leave something, and me telling a name of a chapter will make it absolute. So see, yes, of course, you cannot complete all the chapters. No, everyone knows that. But that depends on you, which to give a higher priority, which to give a lower priority. There's some chapters in the end of the NCERT textbook, let's say logic and all, hardly there is one question from there. Some AND gates or gates, there are some chapters related to logics. But see, if I ask you to leave them, it won't be very right from my side, because they are very easy chapters. You just need one thorough reading. You solve one question in physics, you solve one question in maths from the same chapter, right? I am not thinking of this just from the point of view of mathematics. There are some chapters which are connected to other subjects also. So in my opinion, you should not leave any chapter. Definitely not. But yes, you can prioritize your own chapter list.
Right. So Roshni, you just asked here, no, like can we leave binomial theorem or sequence series, straight lines, triangle? What happens if we leave all these?
You get less marks.
Absolutely.
Simple enough.
Yes. So please, focus on like attempting the entire paper. Do not leave out anything. Okay. And that's what he wants to say.
No. Okay, I'd like to correct your Bhagyashree. You may not attempt the entire paper, but you should be prepared for the entire paper.
Right. Correct.
All right. Uh, do not attempt the entire paper if you are not sure, firstly. Okay. Secondly, binomial theorem, sequences and series. Someone asked that question, right? So these are very important chapters from the point of view of JEE Advanced also, or some other exams which you might give, BitSat. A lot of people from here will give BitSat. So you should think of it in a very holistic perspective. You should not leave any chapter unprepared, because your board exams will also be going on, or maybe they are going on right now. So there is no option to leave any chapter. But yes, you can prioritize them. You can prioritize your, see, 1 hour for mathematics is very less, firstly. So 2-3 things which I would like to highlight from the D-Day of mathematics, D-Day of JEE Mains from a mathematics perspective. What happens is, let's say you leave binomial theorem and sequences and series. Maybe the code, the set of the question paper you get has one question from binomials. The next question is from sequences and series. Okay. The question after that is from calculus, which you have done very thoroughly, very perfectly. What happens when you leave the first two questions? Your confidence goes down to 0. And in that case, either you leave the third question also, which might be a bit tricky, or you may attempt it in a wrong way. So why take that risk? You can leave it, but if you are not prepared, you won't even read the whole question. Maybe that's an easy question. So be prepared, be very well versed with the syllabus. May not gain a very excellent skill set in all of them, but be well versed. Know what is. So that should be enough for us.
I think Ashirwad, okay, so he has already answered about that 1 hour thing. Okay, Chetan wants to know what was your strategy, Aditya, while attempting JE paper, if you would like to share your experience.
Okay, one or two things I'd like to clarify here, Bhagyashree. So these days the exams are online, right? JEE Mains. So do they have an option to switch between the sections?
That will have to figure it out from like the official website. Probably then only we can answer on that.
Okay. So, okay, Vedant says that it is allowed to switch between the sections.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I used to do is, I've tried this strategy a lot of times. It works differently for every aspirant. So sometimes I used to take up mathematics first. I used to complete the whole of mathematics, then move to physics, then move to chemistry. Chemistry will take the least amount of time. All right. During my JEE time also, I tried to do the same thing, but the first question in mathematics was very tough. So I moved to physics, then chemistry, then mathematics. So it depends on the day of the paper also. So first thing is selection of the section you want to attempt first. Let's say you attempt mathematics first. Do not give more than 80 minutes to mathematics. Do not. 3 hours, of which 80 minutes maximum you can give to mathematics. uh, as much as possible, do it, leave it, and then attempt maybe physics or chemistry depending on your own comfort, and then the rest of it. Leave 10 minutes in the end to just cross check what you have done. So that will, eliminate the possibility of error from the negative marking side. That is very important. A lot of times what happens in panic mode, we forget to click a question which we have already solved, or we click it in the wrong way or something. So to mitigate these errors, you need to give the last 10 minutes to check the paper. Even if you solve 2 or 3 questions less, it's okay, but that will at least get you confidence on 10 more questions. So 10 versus 3. All right. So that is one more thing. In mathematics, let's come down to mathematics. Never waste more than 1 minute to start solving the question. If you read the question, if you are able to understand the question, if you are able to understand what you need to do, the approach of it, within a minute, then attempt it. Otherwise, leave it, move to the next question. It's easier said than done. When you do it in practice, you'll understand, because the adrenaline levels are so high at that time. You won't want to leave a question. You will think that if I don't do this question, I will not get a good college. So that is what goes in your mind. But try to be calm and stable as much as possible. That will help you approach the paper in a more effective manner. Another thing, let's say there is a question, you are solving it, you know the approach, but somehow your answers are not matching, or some error, you are trying to back calculate and find the error. What do you do in this case? You have already invested like 2 to 3 minutes on that question. Now if you don't solve it, your 2 to 3 minutes are waste. So don't think about that in such a way. One more check here can be looking at the options. Maybe options can give you the idea. Maybe you can eliminate 2 options, and then you can do some calculated guesswork in that. I would not recommend that to every question, obviously, but in such special cases. So I saw that there is a question: can we do some tukka in mathematics? So it's not like tukka ki ABCD, ABCD, ABCD. It is a calculated guesswork. Yes, in fact, you should do that, but you need to be very well practiced to doing it in a very correct manner. All right. I hope I have explained this in detail.
Yes, right. So okay, I'll take another question from Abhishek. Okay, Abhishek is saying that I get stuck when I try to solve relations and function chapter. Can you please help me in this?
Uh, can you repeat the question, Bhagyashree? I was not able
Yeah,
to hear.
yeah. So Abhishek says that he got, he always gets stuck when he's trying to solve relation and function chapter. So if you can like help
Okay.
him out with this.
All right. So usually I've seen children suffer through the type of functions onto one, bijective, injective, surjective. There are a lot of types, and everyone has a mapping. So read the theory very meticulously from any textbook you follow. Maybe your NCERT textbook, maybe ML Khanna, maybe RD Khanna. So RD Sharma, I guess. Yeah, RD Sharma, ML Khanna. These are some popular textbooks which people use for mathematics. Read the theory carefully. Understand what the names of these functions mean. Solve some sample questions and then try to attempt it. If even then you are stuck in it, you don't have enough confidence on that chapter, you can straight away leave the question from that chapter without wasting any time. All right. So do give a try. You have 7 days in your hands so that you can understand at least like 50% of the chapter. The reason, and this happens, it is a very difficult chapter. Don't worry. In this attempt, you may or may not, choose to, invest a lot of time on this. But by the next attempt, you can, practice it more and more and more and more. So it all boils down to the thing which I said maybe at the start of the webinar, that you have to convert your difficult chapters to your easy chapters. How do you do that? By continuous practice. Mathematics requires continuous day and night practice. This is the only last 1 week you get, maybe one more month you get. Put all your efforts in. Sleep less, eat less, play less. Don't play PUBG. Don't do anything. Just keep on practicing mathematics. So if you do good in mathematics, if you are confident in mathematics, if you choose that to be your first section, automatically your physics and chemistry will also go well. I remember my marks in JEE Mains, they were 287 on 360. During our times, it was 360 marks, and I scored 102 in mathematics out of 120. So I had chosen it the last, but I had scored more in physics, so that gave me the confidence. You whatever section you choose first, if you are very confident about it, if you do good in that, all other sections will go.
Right. Okay. Okay. Any tips for conic sections? So this question comes from Ujjwal. Ujjwal wants to know about conic sections because it's really troubling him.
All right. Conic sections, there are three aspects to the chapter which trouble a person. One, the first aspect is the volume of formulas. There are a lot of formulas in that. There are some 100, 120 formulas, but you don't need to remember all of them. You need to remember the basic concepts, the fundamentals, and try. You can derive those formulas on your own. So you need to have that confidence. In the exam, it's very high paced. I won't suggest any of you to derive some very basic formula. All right. So remember these formulae. Keep on make a chart maybe for every conic section. One for circles, one for ellipse, one for hyperbola, one for parabola. You just put it there. Put it in front of your bed whenever you wake up. Take a look at it. You try to remember it as many as you can. You can put in trigonometry formulas also. So this tip is actually very handy for all the three subjects. Whatever formulas are there, and a majority of bottleneck comes here. All right. A majority of bottleneck comes where you have to remember the formula. So keep a chart in front of you. You wake up, you see it for the first time. Automatically, some formulas will get on the tip of your hands. So one thing is that. Second, in conic sections is drawing something, making a rough shape of something which you want to see. That's very important. You can't just solve a quadratic equation and expect to get the whole idea of a conic section or any question of a conic section. Always make a drawing, make an XY coordinate, try to plot the question, the data in the question on that XY diagram, and then try to see what you're trying. So that is one more part where it will very help you a lot. And third is obviously practice, practice, practice. Conic sections always requires a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And if there's just 7 days remaining, try to get all the conic sections questions from the past 10, 12 years of JEE Mains and try to solve them. Wherever you are stuck, see the solution and see if you can make it even shorter.
Right. Okay. So also another question that I see is of doing, PYQs in this last 1 week. Some of them have also asked about solving important PYQs of 10, 15 years in these 7 days. Like, is it advisable doing PYQs in the last 7 days?
Yes, so there are two schools of thought here. Either you take chapter and do all the PYQs chapter by chapter. What I did was I already had a book from Arihant, I guess, which had
Mhm.
full question papers of AIEEE, JEE Mains and everything. So I used to take 3 hours. I used to, so I start not a week ago. I started this like let's say 20 days ago. I solved some 20 papers by that time. Every day one paper, check the chapter, check the marks, check the chapters where my marks have gone. Try to make it better. So by 20 iterations, I could do what I could in my DD. All right. So PYQs are important. You can choose any of the approaches. You can go chapter by chapter. You can go paper by.
Right. Okay. So let's come to some more questions. Okay. Noman wants to know like which is best, online coaching with self-study or offline coaching. So are you asking for the last
I
seven
never had an
days?
online. Self-study is the best, I guess, for the last 7 days. You go,
Yeah.
you sit in the morning, you do a paper, take the whole day and revise everything. Take the whole day and revise everything.
Aditya, there'll be a lot of students who might be preparing for the the next year also. So I think we have students who are sitting for 23. So I mean, should they go for online or offline coaching? Take help from outside.
Of course, there should be something to guide you. All right. It can be in the form of a coaching institute. It can be in the form of your elder sibling or a friend or something. But yes, there should be some guidance, and a lot of it can also come from tech platforms like Shiksha, other platforms also. You can just go around. A lot of data is available on the internet, but for day-to-day basis, I would say yes, coaching is required. Coaching is required if the school does not cover everything.
Also, a lot of you are asking here about chemistry sessions. So, yes, we will be having a prep session for chemistry and for physics in this week itself. I will share the registration link here in some time. So, do not worry. You can register yourself for those two sessions also, which we are happening this week itself. One is on Wednesday and other one is on Friday, right? So, 15th and 17th we'll be having physics and chemistry sessions separately. Okay, so I'll share those links. Do not worry, I'll share those links. And also some of you are asking about if you have missed a part of this video. So I have already shared that link, but I'll share it again. This entire video will be up on YouTube. It is being live streamed right now, but it will be visible to you by night. So this video will be there on YouTube. You can anytime go back and watch it, right? So don't worry on that. Okay, Vivek, I'll take your question because this is something that a lot of you want to know about. Aditya's speed, how they can enhance this speed in math section because, like some of them are saying that it's quite lengthy, consuming a lot of time. So, how do we brush up our speed?
Okay. I think I have partly answered this question before. I've given some metrics, some numbers that if you read the question, if you read the options, and within a minute you are trying to solve it and you get the method to solve it, then go with that question. Otherwise, leave that question. All right. So that is one thing which will give you the so speed has two connotations here. One is getting the maximum number of marks in a given time frame or solving maximum number of questions in a given time frame, and both of them are different, right? Someone can solve less number of questions with more accuracy and get more marks than someone who has solved a lot of questions with a compromising accuracy. All right. To increase the speed, I used to practice this exercise. It used to help me build my accuracy and the speed at the same time. Let's say when I'm practicing some objective, some chapter, let's say I'm practicing matrices. Okay. So from a textbook, let's say XYZ, Amit Agarwal or some textbook, I'm practicing the objective questions. I'll take 5 questions. So what what is our usual habit? You solve a question, you check behind if your answer is correct or not for every question you do. All right. Rather than doing this, solve 5 questions, check all 5 answers, and see how many of them are correct and in how much time you could solve. Keep a mark, and then keep a time limit. Let's say there are 10 questions. You take 10 questions, you should solve them in maximum 20 minutes. See how many you can solve in 20 minutes, with what accuracy you can solve in 20 minutes. If you, let's say, in the first attempt, you solve, say, 7 questions in 20 minutes out of 5. So that's your starting point. In your next iteration, it should be 7 at least. It should increase to 8, maybe 9, maybe 10 or 10. So that's how you improve your speed by continuous tracking and quality enhancement.
So I think some of you have just queried about the speed. So I think Aditya has already answered that very well, like how you can work on your speed. Okay. So just be, relaxed, because, Aditya, I'm seeing questions here. Like what about, how to control on losing of confidence during paper, and also what to do after burnout in these times when exams are ahead. So there are a lot of I'm sure that,
Psychological questions, yeah.
yeah, so they are feeling very, very, the kind of
Anxious,
anxious and
anxious.
anxiety, and I'm sure that happens when exams are
Of
nearby.
course, of
So,
course.
so I'm sure you might have also faced a similar kind of situations when you were a student. So, what exactly did you do? What like guidance would you give them?
All right. So I'll tell you my journey, April 2014. So during my time, what I did was just a day before JEE Mains. So my JEE Mains was, I guess, on 12th or 13th of April. I guess. I'm not sure. I don't remember the date. So just a day before, I stopped touching any textbook or any paper or any revision of any kind. I played cricket the entire day. I read novels. I maybe watched a movie for the entire day. Just relaxed myself. Did something which I like, which relaxes me, without thinking that okay, I'm giving an exam which another 15 lakh aspirants are giving. Tried to distract myself for that one day, and that really helped me. It helps you remain calm. See, there are two approaches to a competitive exam. What does a good like what does a good scorer in competitive exam do? Does he care that there are 15 lakh aspirants around you? No. He cares how much can I get? Can I get 360 or 360? Can I get 200? Can I get 250? So this exercise of leaving the whole study, talking to your friends about JEE Mains, talking to your teachers about JEE Mains, ki, okay, what tips, what this, what that. Do this for the 6 days and keep that 7 day empty. All right. Do whatever you want, whatever you like. Play cricket, play badminton, play football. Of course, do some physical activity that would help you a lot. It will, keep you relaxed and sharp when the exam time comes. So, the last 24 hours are yours. You can spend them the way you like. Yeah, someone who needs to prepare, who likes preparing, who likes to revise, it's his hobby. Yeah, they can do that, of course. There's no compulsion that they have to play, but I would suggest that do something extra to take your mind off the pressure. It helps you.
Right, absolutely. I totally agree to that. Okay, so Rohini wants to know about, like, on the day of exam, when they're going to sit for the exam, are there any important tips that you would like to share with them? There are certain do's and don'ts that they should, keep in mind.
Uh, okay, this may sound like one of your parent talking, but first thing, keep your all natural processes before the exam, whatever you want to do, not during the exam. Don't drink a lot of water during the exam, which might distract you. Drink water, but to a certain limit, because for these 3 hours you won't be allowed to, you know, you will just be wasting your own time, basically. Those 3 hours are yours. Complete focus, complete everything. These, non-essential activities should not hamper that. First, that's very important. Many people think that this is a very trivial point, but I've seen people lose their seats in NITs and go into some colleges which, you know they deserved more than that. Some of my students, because of this, some things are there. So the day before, they did not sleep. They did not sleep very well. So a lot of problems happen. Keep your biological cycles in process in a place at that time. Day before the exam, sleep for at least 6 hours. How can you do that? That is why I said 24 hours before the exam, play cricket, play football. You will get exhausted. You will sleep. Right? Your mind is off your exam. Your body is completely tired. You sleep. You wake up fresh, and you do much better. That's very important. Taking your sleep taking your water and other things. Don't go empty stomach to the exam. You won't be able to think. Don't eat too much, otherwise you will sleep. So there should be a moderation in that. Have some, decent medium light breakfast and go for the exam. All right, have some snacks. Have some snacks so that you are energetic throughout the 3 hours, but not so much that you feel sleepy. Very important. Very important. Fourth thing, if you're, since this is an online exams, there is a chance of server getting crashed or your these and this is there. Don't try to solve it on your own. Try to raise that issue to the supervisor, to the invigilator, and let them take care of it. If you have lost some time due to that, fight for yourself to get more time from them. They need to, because it is their duty to keep that time, keep those equipments in a proper condition. But since there are a lot of people using them, there is a chance of an error. Do not panic at that time. It's very easy for me to say this, but it would be really great if you don't panic. This has happened to me before. That's why I can say this very well. Don't panic. See, if you're losing 15 minutes, you will get 15 minutes extra. In those 15 minutes, you will have some questions in your head. You will just think, okay, maybe I was not able to solve that before. Thinking, just sitting there calmly, meditating for like 15 minutes. When your computer restarts again, you have solved that question. You're already in a profit. Don't get panicked at that. Already in a profit. All right. Always think of a silver lining of everything. If there is one question which is troubling you a lot, if there is one question you have wasted like 5-7 minutes on that, still weren't able to solve, don't think about it. In that case, just switch the section. If such a question is there in physics, go to maths. If such a question is there in maths, go to chemistry. So you get the point. Keep on rotating in worst case scenarios. These are your worst case scenarios. Apart from that, do well. This is your first attempt. Keep that in mind. That should give you some, good night's sleep today. This is your first attempt. Try to score decent so that you know where you stand and try to improve that. So this is a benchmark which I can give to all of you. If you get say X amount of marks out of 300 in this attempt, you should get 1.5x in the next attempt. So prepare in that. If you get
Yeah,
100 marks, you should get 150.
absolutely. And I think,
So
Aditya, whatever you have suggested, a lot of them can relate to it, because Ansh is mentioning here that, yes, my parents say exactly the same things. And, so I think a lot of them do relate to that. Okay. So Vikas is saying, in my case, there's always a subject that do not go well. So there's a kind of disbalance between the
in
three. Yeah.
everyone's case, it is the same thing. In everyone's case, it is the same thing. If that subject is not going well for you, let's say the physics is not going up to the mark for you, there is someone who is sitting next to you, and chemistry is not going well for him. It's a competitive exam. It's not an absolute exam. You just need to outsmart your competition, right? You don't need to get full marks. You just need to get selected in JEE Mains. Yeah, you need to get absolutely great amount of marks in JEE Advanced if you are preparing for it. If you are aiming for an IIT, JEE Mains is just a hurdle. It's a filter. You have to cross the filter. The what you say, maybe if I'll take the liberty to go into Hindi, the picture abhi baki hai mere dost. ये एक attempt है, this attempt is there, next attempt is there, then there is JEE Advanced. And you are just 17, 18-year-old kids. I've seen so many of my friends from IIT Bombay. They had taken 1 year gap and then went for IIT. There are a lot of people who do that. That shows your own perseverance. It is not the end of the world. Just keep that in mind. These are some very motivational speaker type of things which I'm saying, but it is true. It is true. Like, this is one attempt. You give your best. No panic, no pressure. You will do much better in the next attempt. You will do even better in the advanced.
Right. I
Yes, yes,
totally
BR.
agree.
Yeah, there is a BR question here.
Yeah, if you would like to take that, Aditya.
All right. I don't know much about architecture, but I know there is one JEE Mains which happens for BR, in which there are some subjects related to engineering, drawing, and all. Same strategy. In fact, let me extend this whole piece of advice to any competitive exam which you give in the future. Have a BR. I've given JEE Main, JEE Advanced, and CAT. And I use the same technique for all three, more or less, depending on the subjects, and it has worked. It's all about outsmarting your competition. That's what a competitive exam is. School exams, you need to get full marks. There is a difference. Keep that in mind. Be stable. Do well. For BR, I'm really sorry. I don't know the books you might have to read, but even they're the same. Past JEE papers, past questions, chapter by chapter, you need to analyze. That is the technique which works for any competitive exam which you might give in the future.
Right. And if you like, some of you might be looking for some sessions on that, probably you can always give us that feedback, and we'll, try and hold some webinars on that. Okay, so Shivain says that Aditya, there are a lot of students who are like preparing for JEE after their boards, and they say that in JEE the syllabus of 11th and 12th comes, so they have prepared according to their boards, according to CBSE or ISC, whatever
12th
it
is
is.
fresh for them.
Yeah,
12th is
so
fresh
so
for
how they
them.
kind of manage, JEE along with that exams also.
Okay. Mm, if you see, this happens, the JEE preparation derails when the board exams are going on. It does, because 12th standard is being focused on, our parents want are, like 90%. It's a chip on their shoulder. Obviously, they'll make you study for JEE boards, but that's for your own benefit. Now you don't need to revise 12th standard as much, and 11th standard, you have already done that once before, once or twice. There must be a revision that must have gone in this whole year also for some chapters. You just need to brush them up. So pick up 11th standard, then 12th standard, past papers, analyze, get the buckets, switch the chapter, switch from bucket to bucket. You'll get your marks. You will, and be calm. Same advice I'll keep on reiterating. The more you listen to it, the more likelihood is there that you will really pay heed to that. It will help you, no doubt. And
Okay.
those who have just started the JEE preparation after their board exams, maybe they are a bit late in that. So this attempt is a raw attempt where you just solve based on your previous knowledge, whatever you have studied until now. Maybe you prepare a bit for it, you will get a raw estimate, and in the next attempt, try to score more than 1.5x of that. That is a benchmark which I am setting for any subject.
Right. And I think a lot of you wanted to know a lot of important criterias and everything. So I'm just dropping in the link for all the updates which is happening for the JEE exam, right? So if you can just go through this link, you will find all the relevant information about that. So Aditya, just wanted to know if you have any idea on this 75% criteria for 2022.
Uh, I'm really sorry, I don't. But I think the information must be available on the Shiksha page, so anyone
Yeah,
can
so
go and look it up.
I've just shared that. So I think
All
all
right.
of you can just go through this page, right? So that would help, for the accurate information. That is what we want you to reach out. Okay.
Yes, be informed about the exams. This really
Yeah.
helped me a lot during IIFT and ZAT when I was, preparing for B schools, right? And Shiksha was really handy in that. So they give you a basic set of all the things which are going to happen, keep you updated. Once you know the paper pattern, it's easier for you to prepare.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah. And I think Priyesh has already answered it. Thank you, Priyesh, for that information. If this is true, that the criteria has been removed by NTA. So I think they have that information over here. Thank you so much for that answer, right? Okay, so a few topical questions I will take before we like move to the conclusion of the session. There are students who are asking about should we do integration compulsory, integration for differential equation. Again, an integral question that they are getting stuck in definite integration. So I think integration is a kind of problem for a lot of them, I see.
So integration is the most difficult chapter in mathematics, hands down. All right, so it is from calculus. Lot of people love calculus. Calculus might be their favorite part until differentiation. So differentiation is fine for everyone. The moment that integral sign comes up, so my sir used to call it snake. Moment the snake comes up, everyone starts to fall apart. So for that, there is nothing no other option except to practice. See, as I really discourage students from leaving any chapter to God's own fate. Please do not do that. At least see the basics of it. You must have done that for your 12th boards. Because in 12th boards also integration comprises of a lot of weightage. Let's say the paper is for 80 marks, at least 20% of it is from integration, differential equations, and definite integration. Right? So you have a basic idea. You just need to up your skill. So these 7 days are there. If you want to, you can dedicate a decent amount of time. Let's say solve 4 or 5 integrals, half an hour a day. Give it for integration itself. Indefinite, definite, according to your own comfort. But keep on doing that. And there are 2 to 3 questions from integration in JEE Mains. So 10% of the paper is from integration. So you cannot leave that.
Right. So I think a lot of you who had query about integration, that would help you. Okay.
That's an interesting question from Ashirwad.
Yeah.
I'd like to take that up.
Sure, please.
See, JEE really matters to those people who want to pursue engineering. All right. And since it is a public consensus, you would say common consensus that engineering is something which everyone should pursue. Uh, it's okay. It depends from person to person. If you have good board marks, there are some colleges which really accept board marks to get admission in, let's say, some BSc or these programs like special sciences programs, BBA. Some colleges which apply, which you can apply to through your board marks also. So there are career options for you. They're not gone, but from a JEE perspective, getting 100% in boards and not clearing the cutoff for JEE won't land you anywhere. Simply.
Right. I think Ashirwad, that answers your query. Okay, so minimum number, I think this is one repeated question that I could see previously also, like the number of minimum mock test they should give in the last, like in these 7 days.
1 per day minimum. Like leave the last day for playing cricket and all. 6 mock
Yeah.
tests.
Yeah,
1 per day,
CEO,
3
we have
hours
already
each.
taken that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I think another question from Vivek is what to do if syllabus is not completed. I know very common question for a lot of them.
Yeah, of course, I can assume that the syllabus is not completed, right? So just do what I said in the first part of the webinar. Take your strong chapters, take your moderate chapters, keep on brushing them up. You don't need to complete the whole syllabus if it is not complete until now. In 7 days, rather than learning something new, you can just strengthen what you have already learned. All right. So I think the syllabus must have gone through your eyesight once because you have written your board exams, I guess. So there is a good chance that you have seen what all chapters look like. What does a matrix look like? What does a determinant look like? What does a logic equation look like? What does a trigonometrical equation look like? You have seen that once. It has gone beyond your eyes once. So I won't call it incomplete. If you've seen it once, there is a fair share. Just the level of preparation varies from chapter to chapter. So those which you have prepared the most, focus on those, enhance those, get more marks in those.
Okay, so just for a little help, NTA has already provided a few mock tests for this year, and we have those mock tests on Shiksha's page. Okay, so I'm just dropping down that link. So if some of you are like asking about the mock test, so just click on this link, and if you scroll down on the page, you'll find the link for NTA's official page, right, where they have already given the mock test for 2022. So just check this link, right, and you'll find all the relevant information out there, right? So I think this would help you. Preeti, we have already discussed about cracking JEE mains if you have a month or if you have a 7 days left. So dear, you just need to go back to this video and you'll find all the relevant. I think we have almost discussed, all your queries out here, what to do if this happens, how, what to leave, what not to leave, which subjects or topics, I mean, you need to really, really stress on. So I think, if you're stressed out, what exactly you need to do that. And for the next 7 days, what exactly your, time plan should be for JE. And I think this goes for maths, physics and chemistry, for all the subjects, right? So you really need to, stress on all those. And like I've mentioned, before we wrap up the session, I'm just launching the ending feedback poll. And as I always mention, that this feedback poll is really, really important to us, because um, it helps us to understand your valuable reactions to these sessions that we're organizing with so much of patience and time and care. So I really hope the session helps you and gives you all those answers to your queries. And we always plan to keep up these sessions better than the previous one. And meanwhile, I'm sharing few links, like I've mentioned, that there are certain queries that you wanted to know about the other two sessions. So just let me quickly, share those links with you here. These are all free sessions. So you can just register yourself for these upcoming sessions, which is happening for chemistry as well as for physics. Okay. So I'm just dropping down that link for you. So this is for physics, this one, which is happening on 15th. And I'm just dropping the other link, which is happening on 17th for chemistry. A lot of you had questions about this. So I'm just doing that here itself so that you can easily join in the webinar on the day, and you just need to register and be part of this. Okay. So also a lot of you were asking about this video. This particular video will be there on YouTube. Okay. So if you want, I'm just sharing Shiksha's official YouTube channel as well. Okay. So this video will be there. Anytime you can like go back and ask, and you just watch the entire video. Aditya would like to say something while they're just filling up the form.
Yeah, a last piece of thing. So I see that a lot of questions have come up on
Yeah.
which colleges are better, which are not.
Yeah.
Your primary focus right now should be, since this session is for maths, is to strengthen your maths preparation so that you do good in your JEE mains, and then you are in a position to decide between two colleges. Right? It comes much later. If you just get accepted in one or none, what's the point of discussing this? Firstly. Secondly, colleges, there will be another session, I guess, by Shiksha for colleges, the comparisons. There is a lot of data available on the Shiksha website, which one can go and just check, and which is, I think, quite updated. The data is quite updated from colleges to colleges. All right. So there are a lot of sources available. Everyone has their own point of view. It's better that you focus on your marks right now, get good number of marks, so that you have an option to, let's say, choose between NITs and WIT. All right. So that's very important. Don't think about the college you are getting. If you just focus on a short-term goal right now. What's your short-term goal? To get good enough marks in JEE Mains. So I think there was someone who asked that if 150 is a good score.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good score. But what's even better? 250. What's even better 270. Don't stop yourself to 150. All right. Think of a paper that you have to score 300 marks. Give your complete focus. Give your complete focus, and you will do better than what you would have done before. That's very important. Colleges and all will fall back in place. These are the short-term goals which you should think right now. Divide your goals into mini goals and try to accomplish one by one. All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity,
Aditya,
Bhagyashree.
just a minute before we wrap up. I like to take one question from YouTube. I don't want to miss on that. So this question is from Harish, and he just wants to know IIT JAM exam through though, and then IIT JEE. I think he wants to know like what pattern of he should follow for sitting for these exams.
So JAM is a different exam. JAM is for masters, I guess, and JAM is for MSc in IITs. All right. And there is another one, GATE. It is for MTech in IITs, and JEE is for BTech in IITs. So these three are completely different exams. The pattern is also different. JAM is, Chemistry's jam is different, physics jam is different, maths jam is different, other
Mm.
subjects also.
Yeah.
Gate also, mechanical is different, aerospace is different, computer science is different. But JEE is common for everyone. There is PCM and there is PCM. That is it. JEE Advanced. These are three different papers and
Yeah.
at three different junctures of a human's life. So there is no point in comparing the three.
So, Harish, if you're watching this video on YouTube, I think Aditya has helped you out with that answer. And yeah, I hope the session was useful to all of you. And I mean, we did try to answer all your related queries for maths. I have dropped down both the links for physics and chemistry, which is happening this week itself. So please register on those sessions and be part of those sessions, and please make good use of this platform because there are experts coming all the way from different parts of the country to 60 minutes they're dedicating to you, completely taking your queries. So please make good use of these sessions. Apart from JE, we are also coming up with a lot of CAT sessions, MBA sessions, NEET sessions, SBI clerk sessions. So just be updated and be very, very active on LinkedIn. Follow our page on LinkedIn because we are updating all the relevant information regarding the upcoming webinars only on our LinkedIn pages and our Instagram pages. So you just need to be updated with that, and all the videos are there on YouTube. So don't worry that if you have missed out any part or you have joined late, this entire video is there on YouTube, right? And lastly, Aditya, thank you so much for filling up the space in the last minute and handling the webinar so very well and answering all the queries.
Thank you so much, Bhagyashree, for this opportunity.
And
And
thank
all
you
the
all
best
of you.
to
Yeah,
all the aspirants. I hope you do well and we kind of meet again,
sure.
maybe to select your college, maybe to select your something else, maybe.
Yeah,
May our
absolutely.
paths cross.
Absolutely. And I wish all the very,
Sure.
very best to all of you for all the upcoming exams.
All right. Bye bye.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel.